Hello, and welcome
to the Lume Plotters in 2025.
Yep.
Yes.
We are back
we
again.
Made it.
A new season.
Yes. Exactly. Well, I guess. Are we going to count our new season? We might as well.
Yeah.
Season 3.
Whoa. Third year.
Exactly. Third year of going. Yes. Welcome. Lots of things have happened and changed, and lots of updates to keep you or make you aware of, I guess. And we can start by.
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
I am wearing my Daytona on the rubber bee rubber strap that I got new.
Very nice.
Hey, it looks like, I'm surprised of how nice it looks. Actually.
I'm also wearing a very similar.
Oh, same look.
The same but different.
Black
the
steel,
black steel, strap. Chronograph. But some would argue the better one, obviously. Yeah. So I'm wearing my Moonwatch Professional.
Obviously.
Yes.
So, have you traveled over the holiday period?
Yes.
And which watches have you taken?
We have made very much traveling. We got back. So we went to Kazakhstan to go skiing. And it was like minus 20 degrees. We nearly
died.
Not nearly. Oh, we kind of did, because we came back with influenza B. And the whole family was dead, and we were all in bed. We missed Christmas. We missed New Year's. Everything was horrible. So that's kind of what
horrible. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So it was absolute disgusting. How sick we got. So you can still hear me coughing a little bit. Excuse me. But I only took one watch. And I only took my Oris, the Oris Diver 65, and I think it's a fantastic travel watch. It's waterproof. It has the timing bezel. Goes with everything. I couldn't. Yeah, and once again, it's one of those watches that you're never going to be in a situation where you feel uncomfortable wearing.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I must say, I also had a little watch meltdown on my travel. It was only 9 days, because I just had one watch with me, and that was my Daytona.
Oh, no.
I mean, actually, I wore one watch. I had, of course, more with me. I had 3 watches with me. One G-Shock for, just for emergencies.
Because naturally you have to have a G-Shock.
Yeah. Then my Glashütte Original, the Pano Reserve Rose Gold, just for nice festivities, nice dinners. And then I wore the entire time basically my Daytona. And that's why I said I had my watch meltdown, because I thought, do I actually need more?
Yeah.
I was thinking, I really had my little questioning in my head. Like, I wasn't really bothered, because I didn't check any WhatsApp groups, watch groups. I didn't check my Instagrams. I had no time. It was friends, family all the time. So, and of course, no watch people, right? None of them
care about anything.
So I was really thinking, do I actually really need my entire collection with all of this money tied in, all of these watches? So obviously, once you're back in the game, it's started to unmelt, froze up again, or whatever you want to call it. So it's not as bad anymore. But I thought, maybe I can actually reduce my collection a bit.
Well, I am in the same boat. I nearly bought a 5-watch box, thinking to myself that I would go from an 8-watch box to 5.
Do they exist? 5?
Yes, yeah. So Report makes they're in a row, right? It's like a nice little rectangular coffin-looking box. So they do exist. So I was thinking that might be a good size, but I don't know, honestly. So I have, in the meantime, sold my Submariner. So I did sell, which is the big thing for me to get rid of, because, of course, I always thought I would keep it forever.
Yeah.
And I wore it less and less and less and less. Of course, for those that don't know, I had the ceramic bezel Submariner, which I felt It was the one with the maxi case, and I felt the maxi case, the lugs were so fat.
Yes, it is.
I didn't, it just started bugging me. The bezel was too shiny. So I was like, this is stupid. Like, why do I own this when I wear my Tudor Black Bay 54 90% of the time? So I ended up saying, you know what? Screw it. I don't want to sit here with, $35K
ish
in a watch that I don't wear.
Yep.
So I said, okay, screw it. And I sold it. I got a good offer from a guy in our watch group. So that was done. And then now, of course, I am kind of thinking, what could I get? What should I do? So that's where I'm at. I'm not going to rush in and buy anything, but I have some liquidity that can
good
help me down the lines.
That's the best
I did want to buy
of actually going with it, right? Having the money and just taking a look around.
Exactly. And then I did want to buy the Zenith that we talked about with a couple times now, and I went to the Zenith boutique, and I tried to get the discount that our friend said he could try and arrange, but unfortunately didn't work. So they said that it's not possible, no discounts, 0 discounts, and I felt 52K was still a bit much for a Zenith that's going to be worth 30 and as soon as I put it on the wrist. So
yeah,
I didn't buy it.
Okay. I think it's a good decision not to buy it for retail. Wait until you get the deal for a pre-owned one.
I did talk to a German dealer on Chrono who offered it to me for 39K.
Yeah.
But the problem is this German dealer called Urinstinct, I believe it's what it is.
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a wordplay. Yeah.
Yes. However, they are just absolutely horrible, it seems, at their job, because their job seems to be to sell watches, but I've emailed, I've WhatsApped, I've messaged them, and 0 response. The only place that they respond was through Chrono24, which, once again, the whole point of talking to them outside of Chrono is so that I don't have to pay the 6%, what's it called? The 6%
Chrono
transaction fee for Chrono. So I called them and they answered the phone. They said, we will get right back to you. And it's been like a week now. So they are just absolutely horrible at
I think
selling watches.
The problem is that a lot of dealers just don't like the international stuff because it's always a bit of a challenge. It's also,
but they already sent me an offer. So why wouldn't they, if they sent me an offer for 39K on Chrono, why wouldn't they privately send me the same offer minus 6%?
Problem is, Chrono does that sometimes as well to test their dealers. If they do this, because they will charge you. They will charge the dealer. If you tell Chrono later on that you actually purchased the watch, they will still charge the dealer.
But I didn't. Oh, I guess I could see how that would work. But
because you get a questionnaire after a couple of times. You were interested. You conversed with this dealer. Did you buy anything? And if you do the wrong answer, they are in trouble because then they have to pay. Because maybe that's what you said.
But then they would have just said this, it seems. But nothing, 0. So
circumventing Chrono 24 is always it's a challenge, and you probably don't want to do this because it can cause issues, right?
But it could be the 6% difference between a sale and not a sale.
Yeah. I don't. Do dealers pay 6%? I think they pay less.
6, I think is what I was Googling around.
It's for us, it's 6, I think. For dealers, I think it's less.
I thought it's 6 for everyone. I'm not sure, but
I think it also depends on how many watches, which category you're in, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that's interesting.
So
I think
it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. So I'm kind of off of the Zenith at the moment. But if I found a nice Zenith, I'd be interested in the Chronomaster Revival Shadow, the all blacked out titanium one.
Oh, that comes up.
That's a cool one. Exactly. So retail price once again is 40K, which is nuts. But on Chrono, you could see them for 20, which is half price.
Yeah, see, that's where you go, I think. Yeah, I think what would we see at the moment with the price increases? I mean, we have to mention it. Rolex has increased the prices again. What a surprise. But they have increased mostly for precious metal watches, right? So
surprisingly,
up to 14%.
Yeah.
And 1 or 2 or 3%.
Daytona's big chunk for Daytona's.
Yeah, that's true. Daytona's got more expensive. Now the question is, will this transpire into the secondary market? Maybe a bit.
I just still think Rolexes are not worth the prices anymore. I think you're increasing a Daytona costs what, 50, 60K, I think, right?
Yeah,
around 64.
Like that, yeah.
So you're increasing that to 70 for a stainless steel chronograph that is not even, for all intents and purposes, not even that good of a watch.
I'm wearing it.
I know, but you get my point. It's not by any stretch of the imagination worth 70K. I mean, it's worth because it's rare and it's okay, you can't get one. But if we look at it from a mechanical perspective.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's a no-date chronograph.
It's a mass-produced watch. Chronograph. Yeah, it's a great chronograph. Yeah. It has stood the test of time. It's very in demand. But yes, it's not... technically, if you're looking from a horological perspective, you can get so many other watches in that price range that are. I mean, look, they have Calatravas for that price. And whatever. I mean, you can get quite something, right?
You can get a solid gold date. It's not going to be a new one, but you can get a few-year-old one. And I saw one the other day, a very nice-looking one with still had the caseback sticker, the original caseback sticker on it, and 60K, right?
Yeah.
So you can end up finding something for much cheaper that would be more worth it. So,
but the thing is, if you want a Daytona, you want a Daytona. It's usually that's a challenge, right? If you have that mindset and you want one, so. I think that not only Rolex will be starting to struggle a bit. I mean, apparently in some countries you already get a lot of stuff available for pickup, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, not for people who actually ordered, but walk-ins. Of course, it's like the Explorer 2s and these kind of watches, right? Not so hot watches from Rolex. But I think it's slowly trickling down. There's more and more watches from Rolex that are not sold at a premium in the secondary market, so it will come down again. We will see some availability at dealers, I think. I hope this will extend to the Oyster Perpetuals and maybe some Datejusts, because they were supposed to be available, right? That would be nice. But then, let's see what happens. Patek is, you have the Cubitus. And apparently it doesn't sell so well. So from what
who could have seen that coming? Wow.
So I hear so many people who were being told, well, I could put your name on the list. Look, before the Cubitus came out, I could go into the Patek boutique and they would probably not look at me at all because I have no profile whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So now I looked at the Cubitus and I said, oh, we're happy to take your name. And I thought, really? What? Why? Why seemed there suddenly this switch? And we're happy. So do I need an interview? No. I thought, interesting. Usually they want to know everything about your grandfather's or whatever business ventures or whatever it might be, right? Your horoscope and whatever they might think of. But this was just very, very leisurely, basically. So anyhow, I think Patek is a bit on a weird trajectory, I think, because they have movements that a lot of them are old Lemania designs. They're used for a long time. They have not been updated in a long time. They don't do the A. Lange and Söhne stuff that they put them in. All watches are equally finished. They're not. So they have a lot of watches that are not really that nicely finished. And they're costing an incredible amount of money. I just met a friend of mine last Sunday in Dubai Mall, and he just got his 5th or his 6th Glashütte Original. And he got that watch for like, I think 1/3 of the retail price. And it's a, what is it called? Diary. I think it's called the Senator Diary or something. You can program an alarm in it, and you can program the alarm for 31 days out. So you'd say if it's AM or PM, which time, and how at which date you actually want to have that alarm. That's amazing. If Patek would do that, it would cost $250,000.
$1 million bajillion dollars. Yes.
And then Glashütte does it, and it costs whatever, 20,000 or something. And you think,
no, that is really cool. I'm looking at a picture of it now. Yeah, it is super cool.
These are the things where you think, what kind of horological value you get, right? With in an incredible hand-built, hand-finished watch that has a great complication, and it's really peanuts comparatively, right? Compared to all of these big brands. So I think, Vacheron Constantin last year, they have created the most complicated world watch in the world, the Berkeley, right? So that's at least something where they still show off their prowess, right? Their watchmaking prowess.
Yeah, and what is Patek doing? Nothing.
Yeah, they just made the cubitus and then a round movement in the square case, and you think, meh, right? It was a bit, I think it was a bit of a letdown. I'm not so sure and then this terrible interview, I think it's not good at the moment. Patek is suffering a bit.
Of course.
Then AP, Cactus Jack, also with C.
AP, they keep doing weird stuff, right? So they keep, they do show their prowess in terms of watchmaking, but then they make these stupid things. There's hideous watches, and no one wants. The Spider-Man. What? It's just to me at least, it's a joke, right? It's a meme. Essentially, it's who's gonna go and buy this stuff? Yes, okay. Ed Sheeran and what's his face? John, what's his name?
Mayer.
John Mayer both went and bought one. Okay, fine. But are they really going to be like, look at my Spider-Man watch? How can you wear that seriously and take yourself seriously, right?
Yeah, look, as an artist, you can get away with a lot of stuff, but imagine you going into
showing up in a boardroom.
Boardroom meeting, exactly.
Where is that?
You're on the sea level and saying, Spider-Man. And you're like, okay, here's my Mickey Mouse. Woo. Yeah, it's not really that serious, right?
It is the equivalent of putting the Mickey Mouse face on your Apple Watch.
Well,
that is
now that you say that, I have a Snoopy at the moment on it.
The Snoopy's fine because it's horologically significant. But
all of these screensavers.
Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse says what time it is. He's like, it's 4:55. And it's stupid little Mickey Mouse voice. So it's very, very annoying. Yeah. So there you go.
I think in 2025 we will see a bit of weird stuff happening in the watch industry. Did you hear about I just read this morning about the diamond business. It seems to be dropping like crazy. And in China, the prices went down like 80% for lab-grown diamonds.
That's because like 90% of diamonds are all fake. They're all lab-grown now.
But lab-grown is not fake. It's their
Sure.
No, you can't differentiate them from a real one.
I know that's a problem.
Yeah.
They're no longer real diamonds?
Well, that's the question. Real is now, they're not coming from the soil, but they are.
Yes.
Exactly.
The whole point of diamonds is to be coming from the soil.
But the problem is
I watched a documentary on this, by the way, on the jewelry market essentially collapsing. And they were saying that, yes, you cannot tell the difference between lab-grown and non-lab-grown or authentic, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, people still want real diamonds. So the issue now becomes...
If you ask your wife, would you have a lab-grown diamond but 3 carat or a real one, 1 carat? Sure.
I think the issue becomes, if you can't tell them apart, then this just becomes a whole new game, right?
I mean, somebody can tell them apart. If you go with the loop and you look at the inscription, because I think lab-grown has to inscribe something in them to identify them, which is a good ploy for the...
This is not the issue. Did you know that like the 90% of the world's diamonds all go through India?
Yes, for cutting.
Yes, and what happens there?
They get cut.
You have a bag of these, and generally the issue now is not big diamonds. That's not where the issue is. The issue is with these tiny, tiny little diamonds where we're putting, pave dials and stuff like this. And the issue is that a buyer would go and say, okay, I would like to get 1,000
of course.
non-lab grown diamonds. Well, these guys in the Indian little shops are like, okay, well, I'm going to take out 50 of them, put in 50 lab-grown ones instead, and mix them all up, and then no one's going to be able to tell because no one is going to look through a bag of 1,000
It's
diamonds.
Not worth it for a diamond worth $10 or something, of course.
Exactly. So this is where we end up, is you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah, and that's where the transparency of the jewelry market has now essentially disappeared.
Yeah. So apparently some of the lab-grown lab companies that are actually producing them are closing down in India, not in India, in China, because it's not profitable for them anymore, and they just don't sell because it's just the market is flooded with diamonds, which could be, and this is the one thing that I thought might be a De Beers strategy, right? A typical bit of an evil that we always think like, oh, they're owning the market, they're the greatest marketing ever with this, that you have to have a diamond as an engagement ring because, well, love is forever. And it's a girl's best friend, all of these things. And they did a fantastic job of conditioning us that diamonds are that thing that you need to have, right? And they have, I think, an interest in making lab-grown diamonds so cheap and so how do you say that? Not undesirable, that their real diamonds will come back in vogue again.
Anyway, but this is very funny that you mentioned all this De Beers stuff.
Why? Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just want to mention very quickly. The name of the documentary is Nothing Lasts Forever. Okay. It's on Netflix. Check it out, and it specifically goes through what you just mentioned, the whole De Beers thing, how diamonds became in vogue, and all of this stuff, and it's kind of where we're going to go from here, where it's going to head to.
What I wonder is, how does Rolex then? I mean, obviously, Rolex still chooses real diamonds, I guess. Yeah. But the problem is, if
who knows,
even real diamonds becoming less and less. I mean, De Beers has last year in 2024 2 times dropped their prices for wholesale prices for diamonds, which means there is less demand. So what do you do, right? I mean, that's where you think, wow, might Rolex diamond-clad watches be less desirable at the time, or will they also drop in price?
I think they're, well, yeah, we don't know about that, but they're now also pushing heavily precious stones, right?
Yeah, gems,
I would see less
other things,
diamond watches and more rubies and sapphires and things like this.
Oh, stone dials! I would love for stone dials to come back.
Not stone dials. I'm just saying in general, like you look at the Rainbow Daytona,
right?
That's what no one's talking about diamond.
Yeah, that's true.
Watches
but some people said, the baguette diamonds in what is it, the Platinum Daytona, because that's even one more level up than the Platinum Daytona is the one with the baguette dials as indices, right? And all of that stuff. The next thing is that now that these tiny diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, are so cheap, I will ice out everything. Should I just put easily diamonds, sprinkle diamonds on all my watches, even my Tissot PRX?
You could, yes. Imagine that.
I could.
Now, what's funny here, by the way, I just wanted to point this out. It's now that we're talking about diamonds, I can't share my screen, but I will tell you what's on it. When we were in Munich many years ago, my wife bought a Tiffany ring, diamond engagement ring, right? And then I seem to have misplaced the receipt. And then with the home insurance people, they wanted a receipt.
Right.
So I reached out to Tiffany's and I said, can you send me something with the value on it? And they said, oh, yeah, absolutely no problem. And this was the Dubai Mall people. And they sent me essentially this extract from their archives, which the amount of information that they have on every single ring that they saw. And this is not a very, expensive ring. This is a 5,000 euro ring, right? So we're talking about a relatively cheap thing for Tiffany's, but there's a picture of it. There is the price, blah, 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 when it was purchased. And then it says diamond shape, round, carat weight, color, fluorescence, clarity. And I'm like, okay, this is all normal, fine. And then country of origin, Russia. And then the inscription on the diamond. So the amount of stuff, the fact that it even came from Russia, I had no idea.
No, right? Russia is one of the big diamond producers, as well as South Africa, of course, and Africa generally.
There's but they're not saying this when you're buying the watch. I had to get this extract to tell me where this diamond came from, which I thought that was kind of cool. But
sometimes you get this little document, right? This gemonology, GAI.
Yes, you can.
GEI something.
Yes, that one. Yes, correct.
And there's I don't know if it says origin, but yeah.
I don't think so. I've never seen origin written anywhere.
This is a blood diamond. It comes from.
It's a Russian blood diamond from Siberia.
Yeah.
The tinge of red is the blood of all the workers, though.
From the gulag. Not so good.
But it's still kind of funny. But that's kind of the stuff that this is all going to disappear at some point, because with these, Indian cutting places all essentially mixing left, right,
not so
center.
Sure they all do this, but I guess there are black sheep, right?
Watch the documentary and see what comes up. But they're saying something like 90-something% of all diamonds go through.
Yeah, sure.
And they went and they interviewed a few of them, and they asked them, how many people do you think are mixing, et cetera, et cetera? And they're basically saying all of them.
Yeah.
So it's very, very curious. But I'm curious then on these places like Tiffany's and Rolex's, are they also going through India? I somehow
of course.
don't see that happen. You think so?
Yeah, because I think they said in a couple of these other documentaries that I've seen that there's not so many places that are still cutting. I mean, in Antwerp that just do very big ones. They said it's absolutely unprofitable for them to cut anything that is smaller than whatever 3 carats or something like that, or 2 carats.
Yeah.
So there are still some diamond cutters, and they in other places like, as I said, Antwerp, but the majority is done in India, and I think in some other places as well. But it's just labor cost, right? And the expertise.
Yeah.
I mean, they have an incredible expertise in India because of the volume. They have so many diamond cutters that you just can't compete. You can't.
I had no idea about this until I saw this documentary. And once again,
and jewelry. I mean, in India, jewelry. I mean, you can't imagine even in a normal mid-tier city, the amount of jewelry stores, gold and diamonds and all of this stuff, because it's a very typical thing to, as a storage of value, that you have a lot of this stuff, right? Yeah. But now that is a problem. Diamonds are now really, really bad because the retail value of these diamonds is dropping like it's terrible.
But so is gold as well.
Yeah, but that's also, and that always
not
fluctuates
as badly,
a bit.
but
gold is a bit less.
But now imagine if they said we're going to be able to make,
artificial gold, yes,
artificial gold. Like what is that what kind of implications is this going to have on prices for, gold watches and things like this? It's going to go down, and this is the same thing that's happening to these diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you need to take off your watch and then look at the back and look at a stamp that is somewhere hidden somewhere, or that you only can see with a loop or a microscope, then it doesn't matter if it's real or not, because nobody knows.
Tell.
Yeah,
but you do.
You know.
And that's, to me, this is my issue. Is this is the same thing as you wearing your Pagani design watch.
Yeah,
right?
That would be the same thing. Yeah.
It's I have this nice diamond. Well, is it real?
It's the Pagani, at least proudly says Pagani.
It says Pagani, yes. It does not say Rolex, and that you have to give him credit for.
Yeah, that's true.
But if it did say, if you were wearing a fake Daytona, that's the equivalent of these lab-grown diamonds.
True.
Right? They're saying, well, they're technically in every aspect, they're the same. But they're not.
But the fake Rolex is still fake. It's still not the same, right? I mean, if the movement would be the same.
A fake diamond is still a fake diamond.
It's actually from the consistency of what it is. It's the same thing.
But it's not a diamond. By definition, a diamond is something that is, grown in nature under extreme pressure over extreme amounts of time. And that is what a diamond is. So you can't tell me that in a lab we can, artificially manufacture these, the exact same situations. Yes, you can, but it's still not.
No, of course, it's not
real.
It's not a natural diamond. That's
exactly
true.
Natural. But that's the word I'm looking for. Not real, natural.
Natural. But the problem with that is that's what I'm saying. From the looks and from everything else that you can see, it's the same. And that's the question then sometimes even for the ladies saying, if I spend $10,000 on a ring, do I want a nice big fat one or do I want a small one but a natural diamond? Where nobody who's actually seeing me, you might have people who can spot a diamond, but both of them
a real versus fake,
but both of them are diamonds and they sparkle the exact same. So it's
the traditional method of checking diamonds is that little beeping tool, right?
Yes.
And both of them, will have the hardness and everything.
They have the consistency. It's even if you have this what they say this you have to get it properly authenticated to find out if it's a lab-grown diamond, because usually lab-grown diamonds are too clean. They're better than actual natural diamonds because they are just clean.
Yes,
because you can create anything you want in the lab. So obviously you have the best clarity, the best colors, the best whatever, right? So, but...
So go for the shittier diamonds, right? Go for the stuff that is not clear. Go for the stuff with the yellowish tinge. And then it's
and stuff,
a natural...
Correct.
Because no one's going to be growing inclusions and yellow diamonds,
Go for the P colored diamond.
The VV, what is it? I don't even know. I have no idea how diamond...
VVS++. Who knows?
VVS2, but is VVS2 is very, very slightly inclusion.
Nah,
right?
I think the more VVs and VVSs, the better, no?
Less?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the question. So I can open mine up again here and see what it says.
I don't know.
I don't know, but this is kind of a very funny thing. Okay, mine is VVS2.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that says. Fluorescence, none. And color, I. I, or is that a 1? I can't see if it's a 1 or an I. I don't know what it means.
I'm sure there are, diamond classifications, charts and stuff.
Yeah, of course there are.
So the 4 C's, cut, color, clarity, and carats. Aha, see? GIA has an
diamond color
thing.
Chart.
Yeah.
So a diamond color chart, let's see.
So what did you have? E?
Is near colorless.
You had E, you said? Or I?
I.
Oh, I.
Near colorless. So D, E, F are the top, and then Z is like the yellow diamonds, which is also funny because now you saw this thing with these yellow canary diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And that apparently is a good thing as well. So color is, how do I say it? It's subjective.
Yeah.
And then the inclusions chart is, let's see here. Where's the
Is
thing?
that clarity inclusions? No, I don't know.
No.
Clarity is the VVS. VVS2, VS.
So VVS1, oh no, there's flawless.
And
internally flawless. Yeah. Then VVS1, VVS2, VS1, VS2, S1, which is slightly inclusioned. SI2, I1, I2, I3.
Right.
So apparently VV. So mine's fine.
See,
mine's fine.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good, nice,
very
good diamond. But then again,
yeah.
So do we see in 2025?
This is clarity, by the way. This is clarity.
Yeah.
I think.
Clarity.
Yes.
But does it mean inclusions? I think it does. The clarity is.
Yeah, so this is what it said. Clarity is inclusions. So there's color, what? Color, carats.
Clarity, cut, and carats.
Why are we now? Apparently we're at jewelry.
We are experts now. We have Googled it for 5 minutes. Now we are experts.
We know everything. I used to know some of this stuff.
Me too, but
now I have to refresh my memory.
Yeah, still far from an expert. But the thing is, what does it mean for watches? And I think there we will see either way more watches using diamonds or way less.
Perfect. Thank you for that beautiful insight.
That insight
we don't
amazing.
know what will happen. So it could go either way. Thanks for listening.
The weather will be better or worse.
Either it's going to be hot or it will be cold. That is it.
It might rain or might not. Bring an umbrella.
Yeah, but
yes.
I mean, you see a lot of these women's watches specifically with tons of diamonds, right? And they're not very expensive, surprisingly. You look at Omega, the Constellation line, for instance, to add diamonds, a diamond dial onto the Constellation, it's basically nothing, right?
Well, yeah.
To go from no diamonds, they're very small diamonds, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of diamonds Omega is using. They're not giving you any information about those. Oh, they could be lab grown. They could be not. Who knows?
Don't you have? I mean, I had with my wife's watches. We had the even with the Tag Heuers,
they give you a red
they
card.
Give you a little card with what kind of clarity the diamonds have and how many of them are there and what all of the stuff.
Yes, they give you this, but it doesn't tell you where it's from, whether it's lab grown or not, and all this stuff.
And this is the weirdest thing. My wife had a credit card, this metal credit card with a. What was it called? It was from Mashreq Bank. It was a solitaire. That was the solitaire card. It had actually a real diamond in the card, and the card, the credit card, came with a certificate of the diamond.
Well, it shows you how little diamonds actually cost.
Exactly, the diamond. But they said if you lose this card, you have to pay a higher replacement fee because it's not free because diamond. And the diamond, I mean, honestly, how much can the diamond be? Probably $5-10 or something, right? For them,
it's nothing. It's nothing. But you know how much
they made it like sound like, oof, look, we put a diamond in the credit card, and then they stopped doing it anyways because it was silly.
It is silly, but still.
But it was cool. The first time we got it, we thought like, wow, man, look at a diamond in the credit card.
Diamond credit card.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, all right. So we've spent 37 minutes talking about
stuff. Hey, what did you think about the 2024? And you just talked about wearing your Black Bay 54. What do you think about Tudor in 2024? Haven't they just released an awful lot of cool stuff? I think they were.
You mean last year?
Yeah, 2024, last year. And this year, not yet.
I don't remember what they released, frankly.
A couple of FXDs.
I mean, frankly, I think Tudor is doing Tudor, and they're doing fine.
Gold watches. They have done a lot.
They have done a lot, but I don't remember exactly what was 2023, what was 2024.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
because the Black Bay 54, I think, was 2023.
I think so, yeah. But
I mean, they're doing. But here's the issue: there are still, Black Bay 58s for sale. Which now, if you look at it, how old is that watch? It came out in 2018.
Yeah.
It's a 6-7-year-old watch, and it's still being sold. The prices are still going up. It's about time that Tudor does some changes, right, to that line.
I'm not so sure because I think the 58 is literally perfect. I think that watch.
No. They need to update it. Because it is a very, very old watch. And if you look at the bezel for the 54, the bezel is better. The crown is better. The mid case is better. And
well, they have just launched the BIF 58 GMT, right, last year.
Which is better, and it has all these new things.
And is this Metas? Means that is the GMT Metas?
Yeah, the GMT is Metas.
I see that.
It is. So this is the stuff that needs to be upgraded into the 58 line as well. So that's interesting because
I wanted to talk about these two, Tudor and Omega, because of these. Both have the same strategy, or had the same strategy in 2024 of constantly launching watches. just out of nowhere.
We talked about Omega in our last episode,
exactly.
Right? About how much
every
stuff
month, every
they
second
launched.
month, there's a new watch coming out from Omega. Every second month, there was a new watch from Tudor coming out. The chronograph in blue, then whatever. Then Omega had
Pink,
the white Omega. Then it had the Speedmaster. Then it had so many different other no date Seamasters and whatever. There's so much came out of Omega.
Yeah.
And so much came out of Tudor, and both have not actually focused on the trade shows. They have just launched
they still
stuff.
went. Or I should say, okay, Omega did not go, but Tudor went.
Yes.
And Tudor had releases there as well.
They have done that, but they have also done other things.
Because this year was if I'm not mistaken, we got at Watches and Wonders, we received the new GMT, the Black Bay 58 GMT. That was then. And also we got the monochrome Black Bay. Yeah. The big one.
And did the golden one also come out there? I don't know.
Yes, and the golden one I think came out. The one with the full bracelet. Yeah. That also came out. Yeah. So there was quite a few things that they launched at the fair. And then they also launched over the course of the year.
Yeah.
So quite a few things. But we will talk about predictions later. That's not for now, but we will have an episode for that. But of course, that's the question is, where will they be going?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I have a feeling that, okay, then let's not talk about it.
We will talk about this. Yes, your feelings.
Oh, my feelings.
All right. Okay. Now, all right. The plan for today, before we went on a 40-minute excursion for diamonds, was... we were going to talk about travel watches. Both Ralph and I traveled, and neither of us took a GMT watch.
Yes.
Or any kind of world timer.
Technically, I took a GMT, a world timer,
and
a chronograph,
exactly.
and everything
all
with
in
my
one.
G-Shock.
The G-Shock. By the way, did I tell you I've received the new G-Shock?
Yes.
I got the new 5000R.
Yes.
And it is interesting. There's a few things I didn't notice. You're not a huge fan of rubber G-Shocks, but I have a few rubber G-Shock squares specifically. You know how the bezel on the rubber G-Shock squares, there's a little at the top and bottom, a little bumper, like they kind of stick out a little bit. The original one never had that. So it was perfectly flat, like the metal ones, like the all metal ones. There was no kind of sticking out bit. Also, the other very, very strange thing, I have a watch with the basic 3229, I think it is, caliber, which is the absolute cheapest G-Shock you can get. Then I got this one. I assumed it was going to be the absolute cheapest module you can get, and it's not. And it is super weird because...
I think they upgraded it for this watch, no?
They did, but there's some very strange things. So they downgraded the electroluminescence or whatever it is. It is not a full backlit like the cheapest of G-Shocks. It is a little light from the side. No idea why they would downgrade
but they made it.
that.
It's not a bulb anymore.
It's an LED, but it's not a bulb. But it is still one light from the side. Meanwhile, my bare bones G-Shock has the full electroluminescence backlight. Yeah. Then the other weird thing is the day indicator, where it says the day, is very, very small.
Oh, okay.
And I don't understand why. So, for instance, if you compare it, I can show you. Let me just share the screen very quickly here. Hopefully it will share. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pull up just the DW5600 basic G-Shock. This one, you can quickly look at the size of the date display, or the day display, right? You see it says Sunday in huge freaking letters. Let's compare this to the DW5000R. And why anybody would do this, you can already see it here.
Yeah.
What the hell? Why is it so tiny?
It went to the left.
And it's tiny. Look at the size of this.
So yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense why they changed this. The module itself does the exact same stuff. But do you see how there's no bumper? You see the bumper here and here, right? How it sticks out? How it's not full flat? Yeah. This one is full flat all the way around. But this does have the metal on the inside, right? So it has a metal screw down case back.
Yeah.
Not sure what that has to do with the module, but why this day display is so tiny, I do not know. That's my
while you're sharing, just click on this link that I'm just sharing with you, because I wanted to show you that as well. This is my latest Casio. Oh no, it's on the Teams chat, and
I close Teams.
No, it's just minimized.
There it is. Ralph.
Yeah. So, because that's one of the things that it has a date, but it has a dot matrix date, and it has 3 letters. That's pretty generous, right? Which is surprising.
No, look. But the GW5000U, which I also have. If we take a look here, dot matrix. In here, it's such a small dot matrix you can't even see.
But only for the dot matrix is for the date.
Yes, yeah.
Weird,
I'm sorry.
Huh? Not for
yours was for the day. Oh yeah, that's strange. So yours is not for the.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
this
only
is for the world
date,
time function,
not for the rest. And you know what is also weird, because you cannot change the date
you can see
display.
It better here, by the way.
The date display around, because you know what I can do is usually I put it the European way, the proper way.
Yeah.
But you can't do this on this watch. It's always
so you could do this in the 5000 here.
And that bugged me a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So this dots display here shows you the world time. It does the same thing on your metal G-Shock, so you know how this works. But this is in a much simpler module.
So I have a thing when I travel, right? That once I'm in the plane and I'm taken off, I already set my watch to the price, the time in and the destination. My wife completely freaks out when I do this to her watch, so she never even gives me her watch. She says absolutely not. Only if we land, because otherwise I get confused. Because
how do I know if we're gonna? Yeah, we might not even make it.
I'm getting very agitated and saying, let me change it now, because then I'm done with it. Right? No. So anyhow. So she has the golden version of my Casio, which is the Casio Vintage Re-Edition ABL 100WE1, right? And she took that with her. And I paired this watch. It's a Bluetooth-enabled watch, right? So I paired this with my phone. So she then said, no, don't change my time. I said, it already is changed, because I changed my mobile phone's time zone already. And she looked at me like, how? Why? I don't want it. It's like, no chance. Already happened. So it's just like, damn. So now I have control over her watch. Only if I travel with her. I do the same thing as well.
Right? I change everybody's watch as soon as we get in the plane. I change everybody's watch, because I know what time we're supposed to land in the local time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's why I wanted.
But I have no idea what the hell time I'm supposed to land in the previous time zone that I'm coming from.
I think so, we are living in the future, and the ladies living in the past, because they want to know how long it was since they started.
Everyone's giving me their watches. So it's really funny, because my daughter and my wife are both here. Here you go.
Yes.
And so they know the drill already. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. The point of the story is, why we're talking about these travel watches, is I brought up a couple episodes ago, and you remember we got into a little argument.
Yeah.
I told you about the Carl F. Bucherer world timer. And I told you that it is not actually a world timer.
Correct,
it is simply a bezel that moves around, and then you have to calculate everything yourself.
And I said, there's no way that somebody makes a world timer that is so stupid.
Exactly. So after that episode concluded, Ralph and I spent a few minutes looking it up. And lo and behold, the Carl F. Bucherer world timer is in fact that stupid.
Yes.
All it is
not a world timer.
A rotating, it's not a world timer. It's a rotating bezel with some
24-hour
cities on it.
Right? Yeah.
No, with some cities on it.
Yeah.
The 24-hour thing, there's a 24-hour hand, I guess, but you still have to do all of the calculations yourself.
Ridiculous.
It is. So this brought us to the whole thing is, let's talk about real world timers.
Yes.
But you did notice that in the Carl F. Bucherer webpage, it did say that it was a simplistic world timer, something simple world timer.
A semi-world timer.
Ridiculous. Semi-world timer. So essentially it does nothing of value. Now, there's no button to move forward or backwards in terms of, in this case, in time zones. But before we even get into world timers, let's talk about the simplest way of tracking time. If you're traveling, right? The simplest way I would say would be through a rotating bezel. You don't even need to have
a 24-hour bezel.
A 24-hour yes, through a 24-hour bezel, but you don't need to have a 24-hour no, actually a 12-hour bezel. Sorry, 12-hour bezel. This is before a 24-hour bezel, right? You don't need to have a GMT hand or a 24-hour hand. You could simply have a 12-hour bezel.
Okay.
And I could change things very quickly and track 2 time zones with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe Oris made a Diver 65 with a 12-hour bezel where you could do just that.
Right.
So that is a very simple, it is a 12-hour bezel caliber 400.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very, very simple way of course, just rotating a bezel to track a second time zone.
Yeah.
So super simple, no mechanical movement needs to be updated. It is a regular 3-hander watch with a rotating bezel. So that is super simple and very useful.
Yep.
You could go one step beyond that.
Yep.
And you could have a 24-hour hand.
Correct.
Right? I think that would be the next, because there would be no point in having a 3-hand watch with a 24-hour bezel.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense. Correct? You would need a 24-hour hand.
Yes, absolutely.
To have a 24-hour
Otherwise,
bezel.
it would make no sense. Yeah.
Yes. So that would be the next. And that's just a regular GMT, right? So for instance, I have my Grand Seiko GMT, which just has a 24-hour hand.
Yeah.
So 4th hand, right?
Yeah.
And that you could set independently from your regular home time.
Yeah. I think this is the one. Sorry for that. We have discussed it in our GMT episode one day about the traveler.
I don't think we had a GMT.
Well, I think we did about the traveler and the caller GMT, or the true and the not true GMT.
Which
so either it's you're setting the hand time independently of the rest of the time, or you're setting the 24-hour time independent of the rest of the.
Or I'm going to throw one more out there. You're not setting any of them independently.
Yeah, when
right?
it's fixed 24-hour hand, then
exactly
yes,
you have a fixed 24-hour hand, which is fixed to your whatever that. So you just happen to have 2 hands, right? Isn't this how the original GMT Rolex GMTs used to be?
Where you had you just had the bezel.
You had a fixed,
no?
Yeah, you had a bezel which you could rotate, but the actual GMT hand, quote unquote GMT hand, and the hour hand was fixed to each other.
Yeah. I think
so. If it was 2:00, your 24-hour hand said 14, and that was it. There was no.
And then you could move the bezel, and then the 24-hour hand would still be in the same place, but it would show on a different number then because you moved the bezel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I think this is where I think we when we go into then the world timers, they usually have, and I think let me show you that picture. Maybe I can just copy this also here in the chat so you can see it. This is an example of, I hope you can actually make it a bit bigger, of the Bulgari world timer, because it's a very simple one. It has these 2 discs, or actually 3 discs. It has the normal one in the middle, the 12, 3, 6, 9. Then it has a small ring with the 24 hours. And then it has a ring with all of the city names. And that is the beauty of it. Because the city rings, they will stay where you want them to stay, right? Or they can actually,
so wherever the top is where you are, right? So in this case, you're in Roma because it's a Bulgari
from Rome.
Yes.
And in this case, then you have at 12:00 your home time, and you can press this with a button or with a pusher somewhere. You can actually change your home time. So once you set the time, you don't have to set the time anymore. Because the only thing you do is saying like, I'm now in Moscow, in Bangkok, in Anchorage, or in I don't know where, and the watch does everything for you back or forward.
So you push a button and then it goes forward or backwards.
In that city. Of course, there is one caveat with this whole thing, which is the daylight savings time.
Yes.
Which some watches have a little bit of a little indicator on the city names, where they have, let's say, Roma, and then there's a little arrow to the side, which then indicates if you are in a daylight saving time, because then you would have obviously a different time. And since mechanical watches don't know when we decide to change the times, because that is man-made very often.
Yeah.
It can change. Apparently, the new administration in the US wants to abolish daylight saving time.
I was just going to say, yes, Trump wants to get rid of it.
I mean, Obama wanted to get rid of it, never did. So I would be happy if somebody did that eventually.
I would be happy if everyone got done with daylight saving time. There's no value.
Not anymore. And then even if there was a value, it wasn't really that great. So I think we should just focus on one. And what I don't understand is, what will happen to all of the watches that have this daylight savings time in their chips, for example? Like all our Casios,
all the G-Shocks,
and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they all can switch it off, which is a good thing. You can.
Mine is off, by the way. Yeah, you're right.
Switch it off, but there's so many. There's a lot of things that are not updated anymore that have this memory of when the switch is.
Back when it used to be.
Yeah. So it's going to be challenging.
It's a Y2K all over again.
Yes. Catastrophic. Catastrophic.
Yes, events. Catastrophic. Nothing happened.
Y2K. Yes. I remember that craze.
So, everyone was nuts. So essentially now, these Worldtimers, and my favorite Worldtimer, I should say, that to me is the simplest execution of a Worldtimer, is the Nomos.
Okay.
The Nomos Worldtimer has one button.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, let me just pull up a picture before I tell you the wrong thing. The Nomos, they're called the Zurich, right? Worldtimer. And the way the whole thing works is there's a home time or whatever you want to display on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That's your 24-hour time. That does not change.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So if I am in Dubai, I will have that set to Dubai time, and that is never going to change regardless of where I'm traveling.
Yep.
Then the home time is set to whatever city I'm in. So in this case, the picture that we're looking at here it's set to London.
Mm-hmm.
Right? London is the city that's listed at the very top. So there's a pusher at the 2:00 position.
Mm-hmm.
You press that pusher, and then the whole city list will move forward.
Yeah.
So now we will go to the Azores. And then with that, the time on the hour will jump to whatever position it should be in, right?
Correct.
So it is so simply executed. Once again, the home time has a little house next to it, so you're never going to forget what that is. And then the rest kind of just does its own thing. And I think it's such an elegant and clean design that most Worldtimers overcomplicate things. Even the Bulgari that you sent me, I would argue this is a much more intuitive and much simpler design.
Because the Bulgari is I think is simpler in its traditional Worldtimer regard, because it just says wherever you are, you can see the time of every place around the world. You just have to say where you are, right? I'm sending you one, which is a typical German thing again, because that's the Glashütte Original. They have, of course, over-engineered this watch, as they do, right? If you can see this is a watch that has not only a nice home time with a fully indicator of a home time on the top at 12:00. They have a power reserve. They have also an indicator with different, small second, panorama date. And then they have two windows where they actually show the daylight saving time and the standard time of the two time zones. So depending on where you are, you can actually put it in the top or in the bottom one, because it's one hour difference.
Hold on. This is very complicated already. So I see the home time separate. Yes. Very nice.
A day-night indicator of the home time.
Day-night indicator of the No. Of the home time, because we want to know. No, is it of the travel or the home?
Where you are.
Oh yeah, exactly,
know
because you look outside, exactly. So that would make sense. Okay, so for the home time, you have a day-night indicator because it's a 12-hour.
Yeah.
Most would use a 24-hour dial there, so that way you don't have to have a day-night.
Basically, basically that is a 24-hour indicator, right?
Exactly.
Right?
So because
just
we don't know, it's a 12-hour dial.
And the moon, but it's a small dial. And this watch, of course, has a typical Glashütte superpower, and in that it has half-hour, 15 minutes, and 45-hour time zones as well. So
which a lot of people don't have.
Which most of the Worldtimers don't have. They don't even have half-hour time zones. The GMT Master 2...
The Rolex GMT,
cannot do half hours. And they have
can't go to India.
Done it before. I think in the 80s or 90s, they decided with one update to not have the 24-hour bezel and not have the 48 clicks. They reduced it to 24. But
they also used to have, what's it called?
I don't know.
They used to have a friction bezels where you'd have infinite adjustability.
Yes, that's true. But Tudor still has 48 clicks on all their GMT watches. Because
makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't understand how you can just not have half-hour time zones, because 1.8
so
billion
I'm
people,
still on this watch, on this Glashütte here. I'm still confused. So we have two locations. It says Bangkok and Peking, right?
Yeah, in this case, it does that.
Peking would be Beijing now, right? They changed the name?
No, it depends. It's if they have it this in German. Yeah. Peking is the German version of Beijing.
Okay. So now the question becomes, one says daylight savings time and the other one says standard time.
Mm-hmm.
So that means these two are both in the same time zone?
No. That's the thing.
Then what are you looking at, and why do you have two?
Because this is a wheel, right? It's also a big wheel. So that means if you have daylight savings time, basically in the step before, you would have then, let's say, Bangkok in daylight saving time, and then PEK would be then not shown. The other one would be whatever is on top. So it's just like you can see that what if you have Bangkok, for example, in the lower one, because you have standard time right now and not daylight savings time. Let's assume Bangkok changes. I don't know if they do or not. But if you have in Thailand, if you have daylight savings time, you would have it in the lower window, right? And the time will automatically go 1 hour back or forth. I don't know if it goes back and forth.
I'm very confused. It's
very simple. It's just a wheel. Basically, it's a wheel. So it's either in the top or in the bottom, and you change it, and it changes by 1 hour between daylight savings and not daylight savings. So then another country comes up.
But now you're showing two locations.
You do. You're basically
but those two locations have to have the same time.
Sorry?
Those two locations would have the same time.
Yes, it is the same time. In Bangkok, it is the same time as in Beijing, because they don't have daylight savings time.
Exactly. Okay, then it makes sense.
Yeah, correct.
I got it.
Yes.
So I will put, by the way, in the Instagram
a picture of this
post. I'll put pictures of this, because this is very complicated.
But I think this is like the Glashütte thing, right? They have just put this watch. When this watch would come out from Patek, they would just charge you again $250,000 or $500,000 for it, because it is so sophisticated of what it can do. And this came out in 2020, and nobody, and it's called the Senator Cosmopolite.
Yes.
Nobody, not many people talked about it. You have 72 hours power reserve, you have silicon hairspring, all of this beautiful, beautiful things. And yet, I had only for looking for Worldtimers, I actually saw this watch and thought, oh, how cool is that actually? That it has this.
Yeah.
No,
it is a very good looking watch.
And what I wanted to show you is this quick one here. This is, when I'm just posting this, is about the indicator from daylight savings times. If you have it on the date disk, on the city disk, you see this little underscore and the star.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a JLC example. And that's then indicating Paris or Athens. And then,
so it's indicating the directionality as well.
Yeah, it basically says when you look at this 24-hour indicator, you look at it, for example, at Paris is at 21. I would say. Is it 21? I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at the stars at 22. So that means it's 9 o'clock in Paris without daylight saving and 22 with daylight saving. So 10 o'clock at the evening. So 9 p.m. and 10
I'll put
p.m.
a picture of this up as well.
So it is, And then for Sydney, for example, you have it the other way around because it's on the other side of the world, right? You have the underscore in front of the name and then the star, because there the time goes, winter and summer are reversed. It is what it is, right?
Yes.
So that's just the cool thing about these watches.
Also, this is the one that with the true beat seconds, right?
This one, I don't know if it's the geophysique. I don't think it is. It is a geophysique, but not all of them had the true beat second.
Yes, which we found a very nice one, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it was for sale, and it had the true beat seconds as well as the world time function.
Yeah.
Which is a super cool, set of complications.
Indeed. Yeah, so I really love Worldtimers, and I recently, the Worldtimer from Frederic Constant is very good. There's also an in-house movement in it.
Yes, I looked at this one. It was very nice.
And I thought, that would be nice. And then, of course, there is a very classic one that came out from Montblanc, the Geophysique, with the 2 discs.
Yes.
Which were not so easy, actually. I thought they were, from my aging eyes, I didn't think they were so easy to see. I just posted it as well there, so you can see that. And you can see, obviously, that was Davide Cerato, right? When he was at Montblanc, and he created this, and then now he recreated it at Bremont. And you have a compass bezel, which I think is also the most useless thing to have on a bezel. But anyhow, that's just me.
Yes, some people like this, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I think I told the story many times, but I have tried to figure out what was it? The Seiko, what is this one that everybody liked with the green dial and the Alpinist?
The Alpinist.
Yeah. I had the Alpinist with a compass dial, and I thought, okay, let me figure out how to do it, right? So I went outside, the sun was there, I looked at the shadow, all of the stuff, where it is. And I figured it out, and it didn't work. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm in a different, not northern hemisphere, maybe I'm in a southern hemisphere, right? So let me check that. And it didn't work. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Am I too stupid to do it? And then I looked it up on the internet, and it said, well, if you are in the tropics, which is like a few degrees off the equator, back and forth, a few 100 kilometers, it doesn't work.
Which is where we happen to be.
Good. Yes, we are in the tropics. So, there. So I wasn't stupid, but I wasted 3 hours of my life trying to figure out what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't it work? But it just doesn't work everywhere, and you have to know in which hemisphere you currently are, and that you're not in the tropics. Yeah. So I don't like compass bezels. Since then, I thought, go away.
I don't blame you. I think that's fairly stupid.
But I looked at the Nomos that you mentioned, and it is beautiful.
It's a very well made one. I think.
Yeah, it's Bauhaus. It's
make
clean.
One, buy one.
Does just what it says it does. It's nice.
Exactly. Which Nomos is very good at doing. Now that I have this kind of opportunity to buy something, I was really looking at this one. There's one on Timepiece 360 at the moment. Right.
Did you know that there's
a white dial though?
Did you know that there's also one from Oris? I just posted that for you, which has the plus minus pushes at 8 o'clock and at 4 o'clock. It looks a bit like a reverse or weird chronograph.
Why would you say full steel on the dial? Full steel.
Yeah, because of all of these bloody half steel watches. Do you see that?
Literally, that's the first thing I noticed.
I didn't even see this. I looked at this watch for the last 3 minutes. I didn't even read this. But you're so right. This is so hilarious.
In case you were wondering if it was full steel or not, it is.
Talk about if you have nothing to put on a dial, just don't put anything on a dial.
Don't put full steel. You know what they say, right? If you have nothing nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all.
Absolutely. But
they can learn from this.
Yeah, but this is a nice watch because you have two indicators, basically, two normal time discs, a small one and a big one, and you can push one forward and backward. And then you also have an indicator there at 9 o'clock in the small one, which is probably black and white or something.
But where does it say that? It doesn't say the city here.
No, it's not really a world timer. It's a GMT.
So it's
basically a GMT. Yeah.
No, it's sorry, we didn't even mention this. It's a dual time, right?
Yes, you are right.
So we have to mention this as well. There is a second complication, right? We have the GMT, which shows you one time zone. Well, technically two, right? It shows you the GMT hand, wherever you want to set that, plus the home time. Then we have your rotating bezel Pepsi style, Rolexes, which has a third time zone essentially, because you have a rotating bezel that you can set to something else. Yeah. And then we have our Worldtimers, which we talked about. And lastly, we have our dual time or 2 time zone watches, which essentially just show us 2 different displays, right?
Yeah.
So we'll show us one display with a certain time and another display with another time, and they're essentially just 2 watches in one, right?
Correct.
The reversos, for instance, are dual time zone watches.
Yeah, and then they're not that they have 2 movements. They're just,
no, it's one movement. Gears, They're tied together, but it's another set of gears showing you 2 different time zones.
Yeah.
And there, I believe, you can only set hour as well, right?
So some have half hours, but you don't know.
Because I know there's a pusher, and then you jump between.
Yeah. Most of them do 1 hour, but some do half hours as well, or even with a pusher. So you have to press twice if it's not showing you a city.
Yeah.
Because then usually you have this different one. And then there's
if it's showing a city, then it's only going to go to what that city would be at.
Correct, yeah. And some are smarter than others. Some actually compensate for the different setups, some don't. I just shared one with you, which is a very, very, cool watch that has a very cool name. If you look at the dial there. It's called...
So this is essentially our... this is a Rado
overpole.
It's a very good.
It's not a pole router. It's an overpole, and it's 37. It should be interesting for you.
But now here's the funny thing. Here is this is essentially what the Karl F. Bucherer is doing.
It's a 24-hour hand, right?
It has a 24-hour hand inside.
No, sorry, it's a 24-hour movement, which means
yes, exactly. But
it goes once around. It has only 3 hands. Second, hours, and minutes, but it just goes around the dial 24 hours.
I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's
a very good looking watch. Yeah. And so essentially, you can just rotate your bezel to whatever you want and see.
You can then.
I'm trying to figure out how this would work. So if we are in this case, we're in Baghdad.
Yeah.
Right. So if we look at, I want to check the time in Geneva, it's 2 hours prior.
Yes.
So then this is exactly how the Karl F. Bucherer works. You see, it's 2 hours to the left. So I would see right now it is 20
So you would have
8 p.m.
I
would count -2.
You would have to manually put this bezel, turn this bezel onto the hour hand. Yeah, you would have to put the Baghdad onto the hour hand, and then you would see.
Yes, you can see that.
Because the time of the 24 hours is written on the dial. So it's complicated. You have to see this in order to understand it. But you have to
do math.
No, not really. You don't have to do math.
You just have to move the bezel is what I'm saying.
You just have to move the home time on the bezel.
Yes,
your current hour, to the hour hand. And then it will show everything.
What I'm saying is you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You could you see that there's 2.
Yes, but if you know already that it's 2 hours, then you don't need the bezel as well. And you don't need even that. You just need to know. But my point is you can actually see it properly. If you move the bezel, then you have the entire world at your fingertips for a few minutes until the hour hand moves. Then you have to move the bezel as well. And that's what a world timer does automatically.
Right? I'm going to put a picture of this watch up as well.
But it looks cool. Yeah.
It looks very cool. I just looked it up. It's 9,500 dirhams at
that makes sense.
Rivoli.
Yeah, so that's the Worldtimers, and I think some are nicer than others. I mean, I personally have, of course, a favorite, which is this one, which is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Worldtimer.
Yes,
again,
which
but it's
not a bad looking watch.
Busy. It is, you need to like that. But then you have also the 24 hours black and white, so it's day and night, where it is day and night, and then you can see.
It is a very, very busy watch.
It is. It shows a lot of stuff, right?
My favorite, I would say, by the way, out of all of them, is the Patek. I think the Patek is a very beautiful execution for a Worldtimer.
That is true. It is nice.
Yeah.
And that's three.
Anywho.
So I think we have discussed that, and then we actually seen that this Bucherer is a semi or simplified Worldtimer.
Phony. It's a phony.
Yeah.
But then again, we see that this is the same thing as being done by Rado. So
with the benefit that you actually have a return, the bezel that can turn. Did the Bucherer has this as well?
Yes, the Bucherer has a turning, but it's an internal turning bezel, like a JLC Polaris, and you still had the 24-hour. And you had
an extra 24-hour hand. So yeah, that.
No. There was a little subdial that just rotated.
Oh.
So it was not a hand.
Okay.
But essentially, it did everything that this watch does.
Yeah, but with the difference that in this watch, because it's a 24-hour bezel and a 24-hour hand that indicates the hours, you can actually just put it and read the time, basically.
Yeah, so this is why I watched the video on the Bucherer, and this is why the guy kept saying you have to do the math yourself.
Yeah, in this case you don't. You just move the bezel, and then you can read the time in any time place in the world at that moment. Yeah.
Yes.
Weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But that's what the Swiss need to do to keep busy, right? Need to make different versions of Worldtimers.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, on that bombshell, I think we've spent the majority of our time talking about diamonds.
Nearly, but
nearly 45 minutes of diamonds, 30 minutes of Worldtimers, but nonetheless, we are once again over.
We have done a good job. Time. We have done a good job.
Very good. Yeah. We pat ourselves on our backs for doing such a good job at telling you such awesome stuff.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Then wishing you a wonderful 2025, and also to all our listeners. And I hope that we hear each other soon again.
All right.
Bye-bye.